Okay, so I'm ready to add a bit more details to my backrest. So for example, you can see here on the sketch that I've got an additional part that makes my backrest. It's a sort of cover, all right? So I'm just going to hide my background image and I'm going to select these faces here. So I'm going to press Control Shift. Well, no, before I do that, I'm going to right click on the explode icon, make sure that copy equals yes, and I'm going to extract one by one these faces. So I'm going to select these faces, and you can notice the little plus sign next to my cursor. This means that basically I'm making a copy. If you don't see a plus sign, that means copy equals no, basically. So I'm going to select these faces, maybe these ones as well. Let's see what it does. And I'm just going to right click. That way I made a copy of my surface. Now I need to extrude that stuff. So I'm going to click on extrude and make sure that in my case the direction is the Y direction. So make sure that in direction when you're about to extrude it says direction equals Y in this case. And I'm just going to click once. So left click, give this kind of thickness here like that. Now you see something weird happening here. So I'm just going to press Control Shift and I'm going to select these faces because it extruded these edges and added these faces and I don't want them actually. So I'm just going to select them and I'm going to press Delete and I get this. So now if I select this backrest and the cushion and I just hide it, I'm going to do a reflect of that model here. So I'm going to select that and I'm going to click on Reflect in my Sub-D tool and I'm going to maximize my back viewport. So it says start a reflection plane, enter to use the current reflection plane. So I'm just going to press enter and see what it does. Snap to reflection plane. I'm going to leave it to automatic and there you have it. So it does the reflection automatically like that. I just want to check if the symmetry is done properly. So I'm just going to, for example, Control Shift and just drag this face. Yeah, okay. So I can see that the symmetry is properly applied to that model. So that's good. So what I want to do now, I want to add a bit more, how can I say, a sharper rounding here. This is too rounded in my opinion. So I'm going to press Control Shift and I'm going to select, for example, this edge. And again, I go back to my Sub-D toolbar and I select edge ring like this. So make sure, and once again, that it does a proper loop all the way around, as you can see here. And I'm going to select the function insert edge and I'm just going to bring this edge very close to the next one so that you can see now that it's a nice and sharp rounding that I'm creating like that. And I can do it again, so I can Control Shift, select this edge, select the ring loop like that, and then I do another insert edge and I'm going to add another edge on the other side like so. So if I double click, you can see what it looks like. Okay, so now I'm adding more details, and the neat thing is that by using this technique you can see that it follows the same shape as my cushion for the backrest. So if I bring everything back together, there's the result. So maybe I might want to bring this in a bit closer into it like that and get something like that. However, what I would like to do again, so let me click undo and let me just hide the backrest and I want to try something else. I want to close this off now. All right, so I'm going to use the bridge tool. Here's the bridge meshes or sub-Ds. I'm going to select this edge, right click, select the second edge on the opposite side, right click, and it's going to bridge it. So how many segments do I want? I don't know. Let's leave it at one segment. Let's click OK and let's see what it does. Okay. So I've got this result. If I click on tab to have my box modeling, that's what I get. All right. So now I want this edge and this edge. Okay, I'm gonna try different strategies. I'm gonna add some segments now. So I'm gonna click on the icon called Insert Point to Mesh or Sub-D. So I'm gonna click on that, and I'm gonna line up more or less with that endpoint here. So I'm gonna select my mesh and I'm gonna just eyeball it. You know, it doesn't have to be super precise, and I'm just gonna create a segment like this. So it's kind of hard to see, but if I highlight it, that's what it looks like. So here's an added segment. That's great. I'm going to add again. So I go back to insert point to mesh or sub D, and I'm going to select that face, and I'm going to align it with my next segment, which is about here, and go about here. And there you have it. So I created this segment this time. And I might need, because I see another segment here, or here, I need to add another segment. So again, I go back to insert point, select about this high. Again, you don't need to be super precise. I find that working with sub D, it's very forgiving in my opinion. So there you have it. So now I can do, now I've got one segment here, as you can see here, and I've got a segment here. Okay, so now I can bridge this. So I'm going to click on bridge, this edge, enter, with this edge, enter. And I'm just going to leave it to one segment and click OK, like that. All right, so I need to do the same again. I'm going to use the bridge tool. I'm going to select this edge, enter, with this edge, enter, and right click to complete it. I need to do again, bridge, this edge, enter, and this edge, enter. Right click, that's good. Okay, now this one, I see that I have a segment here. Whoops, sorry. I have a segment here. Okay, so this point here, I'm gonna create a segment about here. So I go back to my toolbar where it says insert point to mesh edge or sub D, and then I'm gonna line it up with that other vertex on the other side, and I need to go to the mid plane to create my segment, and there you have it. So now I'm going to do another bridge, this edge, enter, and this edge, if I can find it, this edge, like that, and then click enter again. So that looks good. So I need a couple of other segments that I need to create. For example, here I've got 1, 2, here I might end up with 3 segments. So we'll see how we can solve this. Usually we like to work with 4 borders, but I suspect that here I might end up with 3 segments, and we'll see what it will look like. Okay, so I'm gonna again create insert point to mesh or sub D, click on that. I'm gonna select that face. I'm gonna line it up more or less with that vertex and go to the mid plane and create this segment here. And I'm going to create another segment. So I've with this plane here. So I select my face, something like that. And I have another segment here. So I need to again insert point, select my face, line it up with the opposite vertex, more or less like that. Go to the mid plane, right click. I need another vertex, so I need to create it. I need to insert another point. So where is this icon? There it is, insert point. So select the face, like that. I need to do it again. So I'm going to select that face, another segment here, and another one. I need a last one. So I'm going to select this face, add another segment, go to the mid plane, and there you have it. All right, even if it's not super lined up, you can do it later and clean it up, you know, by moving the vertices and or the edges at your convenience. But let's bridge all these gaps now. So I'm going to use the bridge tool. I'm going to select that edge, enter, select that edge, enter, and press enter again. Make sure that segments is set to 1, by the way, okay, when you're about to bridge. So this edge and this edge, there you go. And I'm patching up as I progress like this, one by one. Bridge this with this, enter, there you go. This one, enter, with this one, enter. This, enter, with this, enter. And yeah, so this is getting interesting because now, oops, let's try again. Bridge, enter, first segment, second segment, enter, there you go. So this one is a triangle. It's not that it's not allowed, you know, you can definitely create sub-D objects if you end up with triangles. But I see something interesting. I prefer having quads than filling this hole here. And you see here, I've got an edge. So what that means is that I could create an edge that travels like this all the way around, and it's going to join here. So you see that if I highlight this edge, there's also on the other side, there's this edge here. So learn to observe and how you can fix this. So now I can create 4 borders for this one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add more segments. So insert point to mesh or sub-D. So I'm going to line up with this vertex here approximately. So let's rotate a bit. There you go, something like that. And I'm just going to go down and press enter, and I need to, so you can snap to on the snapping toolbar with vertex on, okay, if you want. Endpoint won't work, but vertex definitely that will work with sub-D objects. And I'm going to select one by one and start inserting segments to all these little faces that I just created. So this like that, snap to the vertex, and add more and more segments as you progress like that. This one, and lastly I need to connect this vertex with this vertex. Whoops. This vertex, let's see if it works. No, it won't work. For whatever reason it won't add segments. I'm not sure why. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna press Ctrl Shift, I'm gonna select that face, I'm gonna delete it, and I'm just gonna bridge it. So maybe it's a bug, I don't know. This edge, enter. So I'm just using the bridge tool, and as you can see, I'm just going to close this off, and again I can use the bridge tool. There's also the fill sub-D hole if you want. So if you click on fill sub-D hole instead of the bridge tool, because now it's a closed hole, basically I'm just going to cap it or plug it using the fill sub-D hole, which is this icon that you see here. Alright, so that's done, and I need to go back to the upper part here, and I'm going to do the bridge tool. So bridge, select this edge, enter, select the second edge, enter, there you have it. Alright, so now I end up with now these 3 edges, which is, I guess, unavoidable in this case. So I'm going to do a fill hole, so fill sub-D hole, select this edge, and this edge, and right click, and now you've plugged it basically. So now if I press the tab key to smooth it out, here's the result, which is not bad at all. All right, so now I can bring back all my different geometries, and this one maybe I can bring it more inside. I don't want it to be too thick, you know, but I do want to make it look like it's covered in leather, right? So it has to look like it's a bit, you know, inflated, if I can use that term. Like this, maybe not these faces. I'm gonna dislike these faces. I'm just gonna select these ones. So it's like it's filled with foam and all that stuff. So it looks like a very soft, organic surface. And that's what sub-D excels at. It's creating these organic shapes, giving it a very natural looking effect. So now I'm just giving a bit of, you know, thickness or whatever, and there you have it. So obviously I can spend a lot more time trying to refine. I think you get the picture. What I could do, maybe I'm going to select these faces. I'm just going to double click to make the loop like that, and maybe with the, you see the red, either the red handle or that blue handle, that's for the scale tool on my gumball. I'm going to press shift and I'm going to do a scale 3D, and I just want to make it a bit smaller, maybe like that. All right, something like that. And if you want, you can add again more details if you want to make the corners even sharper. But I think that's going to be okay for now. I can always revisit this in the future and make some little adjustments. Another thing you could do, if you want, you see on the gumball, you've got the white handle of your gumball here. So let me just hide these components first, and let me switch to the shaded mode like that. So I want to orient the gumball to my object. So if I click on the white handle, left click, and I'm going to try and align to object. So it doesn't do anything with align to object, but sometimes it will follow the same orientation as your object. So now I need to actually relocate my gumball. So I'm going to click on relocate my gumball, and I'm going to say, for example, this point here, and I'm going to try and now it says what is the gumball x-axis direction. So I'm going to say, let's say the x-axis will follow the same direction as my backrest. You can make it as long as you want for this axis, doesn't matter. So I'm going to line it up like this, and by default the y direction is going to be 90 degrees, so now it's going to be this direction. By doing so, now I can use the green handle on my gumball, and I can do a non-uniform scale just to make it a bit thinner, like that, okay? And if you want to reset your gumball, you just left click on the white handle, and you have here reset gumball, and it's going to reset to its original XYZ axis direction so that it lines up properly. Now I see at the bottom I need to modify this a bit, so it's no big deal. I can select the bottom part. So let me see, if I press tab, let's see if I press tab like that, I'm going to go into the box modeling. I'm going to press shift control. I'm going to select all these edges and points at the bottom here. Now you see the gumball is aligned with the faces, because if I left click on the white handle of my gumball, it's set to align to object. So this time you can see that my gumball is properly aligned. So I'm just going to click on the handle. I'm going to say align to C plane, for construction plane. And so now you can see that it's aligned with the XYZ coordinates of the world axis. And I'm just going to left click on the green handle for the scale of my gumball. So you see the green handle here. I'm just going to left click on that, and I'm going to type 0, and I'm going to press enter, and it's going to flatten the bottom part like that. So everything is nice and straight at the bottom. All right. So if I press the tab key again to smooth it out, that's what it looks like. I don't have that tapered look anymore. I want it to be nice and straight at the bottom, like so. The upper part, yes, I would like to keep it, you know, a bit, you know, tapered and rounded and so on. So I'm just going to press shift control and select my vertices, and I can modify, sculpt my model the way I like it so that it looks natural and so on. So let's say that you're happy with that, you know, you just bring back all the hidden geometries, and you just have an overall look, see if everything makes sense to you. You can always take the cushions, and I can do a non-uniform scale and just shrink them a bit if I want to. I should have done this the same with my headrest and just shrink it a bit, or do a non-uniform scale using the gumball basically. So you can, it's a very sculpting intensive exercise, and I think this is great. It's an awesome tool. Okay, what else? Well, let's leave it at that for now. Okay, and let's carry on with the next step. All right, so do this geometry here, and once you're done, we can move on to adding more details to the backrest. All right, so I'll see you there. Thank you for your time.